Hi, welcome. Welcome. It's great to be here live with Linda. I'm always happy to turn this on and find out I'm still alive. Anyway, um, as promised, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Ascension Matrix. But before we do anything, right, before we go into any discussion of this, what I'd like us to do is just take a moment to get centered, right? So if you'll join me by closing your eyes, right? Close your eyes and open your awareness to wherever you are. Okay. So while it's true that your spiritual essence is everywhere all the time, it is also true that your human body can only be in one place at any given time. With that in mind, I ask you to take a moment to recognize your location, where you are, what continent, what country. Maybe you're in a city, maybe you're in the countryside, an island, or a mountaintop. You are somewhere. And it is a time of day, right? Maybe it's morning, maybe it's afternoon, maybe it's the middle of the night. As human beings, we live in the intersecting zone between time and space, where time and space collide, right? Come together. And here you are now, as am I. And in this moment, we recognize our connection. We are always connected. No matter how distant it seems, there is a way in which our spiritual essence is unified. Nice. Good. And so, at this point in time, please distinguish yourself from the first part of your day. Good. And step back from that which is yet to come. And let's be together in this time. Good. And now, if you would, open your eyes and come back. Thank you. Oh, good. Oh, it's nice to see you too. Oh, good. Renee is with us and Payal. Really great to see you guys. Thank you. Um, so I want to talk to you just a little bit about the Ascension Matrix. What it is, why it's so important to us. Amy Mack is with us. Hi, Amy. Cool. So I'm trying to, you know what, I'm multitasking. Never goes too well. Anyway, so here's what I've noticed lately, right? That the world is a little wacky right now, right? I mean, if you dare turn on your television set and you will see that all kinds of things, everything from the coronavirus to governments to education systems to religions and politics and personalities, it's kind of wild out there. Everything is happening, right? Because the old ways are dissolving and the new ways are being born. Right. And as human beings, if we know anything, we know that birth can be a little messy and so can death. And we're we're caught between the two at this point. Oh, good. Kayla, I'm sorry. Hi, nice to see you from Washington State. Cool. So because we're in the middle of these times, dramatic change, lots of turmoil, upheaval, right? Ultimately, we know there's a happy ending. There really is. The question is, how do we navigate the uncertainty? And this is where um, the idea of igniting, right, really activating our ascension matrix comes in. Okay, because all of us, we want to make a positive contribution to our own, to the people we know and love, to our communities, to the world. The question is, how do we, right, how do we participate and not get like tangled up and pulled down into the mess, right? So working in my own Akashic records using the pathway prayer process, I was introduced to what I've come to know is the ascension matrix. Okay. And the matrix is, well, we'll talk about that in a second. But here was the first thing I learned about ascension. Excuse me. I think the most important thing that was brought to my awareness is that ascension is an ongoing process, right? It is not a singular event. Now, that's a good thing, because I remember back in the 90s, like, I thought the ascension, I thought there was going to be I thought the spaceship was coming for us. I mean, I didn't know what ascension was. I thought ladders would fall out of the clouds and we would climb them. It never occurred to me that it was a state of consciousness, an ongoing, ever expanding, right, far reaching state of awareness. And that's really what it is. And that's what we're talking about. The other thing that was brought to my attention was I had previously been under the spell, right, of the idea that someone was going to come and ascend me, whether it was some deity or maybe a saint or my next door neighbor or an alien. I didn't really care who, but I really thought that there would be an outside force that would come and lift me up out of my circumstances, and I would then be, I don't know what I would be. I'd be in the light. Well, lo and behold, it turns out that I don't have to wait for anybody else, which is good, right? But I don't, and neither do you. That each one of us can, I want to say, accelerate, hasten, right? Cause a quickening in our own ascension process. Every one of us is responsible for our own experience of this, and we have the tools to facilitate it. So I talk a lot about ascension in my second book, which is on healing through the Akashic records, right? And the ascension process comes at the end of the book after we've done all this healing work, right? Looking at transforming our relationship with our personal injuries and wounds, and really, I want to say, growing through, right, finding peace in our relationships with other people, whether they're easy relationships or challenging relationships. And then after that, then we get to ascension. So I think it's fascinating that simply by doing our own inner work, what begins to happen is we naturally start to rise above the fray, which is very, very exciting. The more clear we are, the easier our ascension can be. Now, every one of us has within an ascension matrix. Okay. And let me tell you what that is. The matrix is made up of 3 parts. Okay. Gratitude, grace, and generosity. And they work together within us. Now, we all have gratitude, grace, and generosity within us, but we're not always aware of it. It happens, right? We get caught up, right? We get caught up in our ordinary lives, and we forget that these wonderful qualities are already within. And what I have come to learn is that each one of these 3 has a different role in supporting our ascending awareness. So gratitude gives us momentum. So that's moving forward with gathering speed, momentum. Grace, well, grace is the catalyst, right? Grace is it's like spiritual fairy dust, right? What's interesting about grace is also, it's everywhere. But what activates it, what stimulates it, is when we're aware of it. right? So what grace needs is someone to notice it. And that's where we come in, right? And finally, there's generosity. Generosity, of course, first of all, of thinking and of feeling, but also of action, right? Giving. To be generous means to give. And what happens as we give is we lighten up, quite literally, right? So the more I give you, the lighter I am, because I'm not trying to like keep everything for myself. So generosity is terrific, and it gives us velocity, right? So we move upward. When we have these three together, we're moving upward and forward simultaneously, and we're ascending. All righty. So the thing that's really good news is that no matter what we think about ourselves, no matter if we're like, oh my God, I'm having like one of the worst days of my life, the ascension matrix is always within. All right. It cannot, no one can take your matrix from you. No one can steal it. I mean, everybody's got their own. They wouldn't want yours anyway, right? Everybody wants their own to be stimulated. So I thought we could just take a minute to see if we can activate, right, stimulate our own ascension matrix. All right. So why don't you join me? Okay, if you want, it'll be great. So together, we'll just take a couple minutes here to close our eyes. Close your eyes, open your awareness, and direct your attention inward, right, within yourself. Good. And now, if you would, consider somewhere within you lies an infinite reservoir of gratitude, thankfulness, that spirit of appreciation, being able to recognize the positive value of everything you are, all that you have, and everything that you're able to do. And the life outside of you, what seems to be outside of you, right? Everything that your life is, all the wonderful and mysterious elements that your life holds. And then there's that, like the essence of life that's so alive, right? It's a strong pulse, and you can detect that in your own life, no matter how big or small your life is. Give yourself a chance to appreciate the positive value of something in your life right now. And from there, let's move to grace, right? It is referred to as a quality of the divine, right? It is that special something. We all know it when we're in its presence, but sometimes hard to describe because it's not physical. One of the easiest ways to identify the presence of grace is to reflect on what in your life experience is surprisingly easy for you. For some, relationships with their spouse are somehow magical. Oh, no matter what hardships are faced and complications arise. Others find that in relationships with their families, right? Whether it's the family of origin or the children, work relations, with people. For some, It's creative talent and ability, that there lies within some ability to be able to express great emotion and truth through creativity, whether it's singing, dancing, art. Right? For others, there is an outpouring of grace in the area of logic and good sense. Look and see what area of your life has been touched with an extra dose, if you will, of grace. Moving on now to the third component of our matrix, to generosity. Oh, so easy for us humans to think we have nothing to give, or we'll give later when we have more. But the way generosity works is to see what you can give today with what you have. It's not just the thought of giving, it's the act of giving that lifts us up and forward in an effortless way. So look and see. Maybe you can help your neighbor today, right? Make a phone call to someone who you know is lonely. Maybe you have some extra money and you want to give it to somebody. Perhaps what you have to give today is a listening ear. Whatever you can give to someone else. Today's the day to do it. Excellent. And so the ascension matrix is ignited. So the more grateful we are, the easier it is to give. The easier it is to give, the more we recognize grace. It doesn't matter where you step in on this matrix. Step in anywhere and do what you can. So for now, let's leave this be. Open your eyes and come back. All right. Oh, it's nice to see everybody. Hey, thank you. Good. Write a book. Oh, Payal has it. This is a great book, Payal. Do you know, I don't know if I could write a book of case studies. It does sound fun though, doesn't it? Actually, what I would invite you to do is to keep a journal of your own experiences, right? Because I know that everyone who comes to me has, more than enough stories and so many experiences of growth and change and transformation. And as we write them down, right, we make note of them. What begins to happen is they get stronger in us, right? When we have a positive experience working in the records and we don't acknowledge it, it stays in the shadows. It's a little shy, right? So it can be very helpful to write down your own insights, right? What you're learning about yourself and your relationship to your life and what's helping you to move forward, right? It's always really good. Try and pinpoint those things. You can do this in your records or not, right? Just to write this down in the ordinary. Oh, we've got Kevin Jackson, Lori Beth. Hi, Lee is with us. Nice to have you guys here today. Oh, good. Hi, Karen. Thank you. So that's what I would recommend. I say write your own story, right? And it's interesting, this idea of our stories, because the Akashic record is the story of your soul's journey as human. Yes. And the stories, the experiences you have in this lifetime, they count, they matter, right? It's kind of like they're chapters within this greater understanding of the record of who you are. So writing these things down is really terrific. Um, I have to tell you, I am, oh, good. Oh, people are saying, good, 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 good. Okay, Kayla, okay, yes. Do you know this is an interesting thing? Kayla is raising an issue that I think is so important. That that we are important as human beings. We do have value as mere mortals. We do have value. One of the things that I had this incredible awareness. I was working in my records, and I was, of course, kind of, getting a little sad about it. I'm thinking, oh, I don't have anything to offer, all this kind of, these old ideas that can come back when we're tired, right? We're tired, we're run down. And what happens is some of those old ideas come back to give us a hard time. Anyway, I had this awareness. And the awareness was that life is made up of all of us together. Together we compose life, right? And if any one of us were eliminated, so if I disappeared and never existed, life would be a little different. If you disappeared and never existed, life would be different. What makes life is the consciousness of each and every one of us, right? In all of our incarnations throughout time, our own individual past, present, future, yeah. And then all the people that we're connected with, that we know, our ancestors, right? And then our descendants, those who follow us, right? So we're all, it's just the most amazing thing. And what keeps life is cohesive, which is really kind of a funny thing when you think of it, because we all seem so different. But at the core, we are all made of the same stuff. And the stuff we are made of is love and light, right? It just expresses differently through each one of us. Like I am the Linda container is kind of limiting, isn't it? Instrument, vessel for the life force, right? Amy is the Amy expressor, right? In a unique individual way. Kevin is, right? Life is expressing through Kevin in his unique individual way. So it's really an amazing thing, right? The way life can be expressed through a gazillion people in a gazillion different ways, but it's still the same. Qualitatively, it's the same thing. And so even on a day when you don't, you feel blue and you have a lot of doubt about your own value, consider the possibility that without you, life would be different. Okay? And that would be sad. That would be heartbreaking, right? Life needs each and every one of us, no matter what opinion. You can even have a bad opinion of yourself and life will still need you. Do you know, sometimes I think about some of the great people in history. Some of them were really kind of goofy. I mean, people who've done great things, whether they've discovered great mathematical formulas, music, art, right? Even military and political figures. I mean, there have been some pretty strong personalities out there with great strengths, but also incredible flaws and vulnerabilities. Imagine Napoleon Bonaparte saying, I'm not going out there today. I'm too short. I have a stomach ache. Listen, this guy had a stomach ache his whole life. It was probably his gallbladder, but that's another story. But you know what I'm saying? He didn't say, oh, I'm not perfect. Life doesn't need me. He said, excuse me, I must unify Europe. And he did. He did, right? And was he perfect? Heavens no. Heavens no. He was a handful, right? I'm sure, sometimes I think his poor mother, can you imagine having a kid like Napoleon? I don't know. I would have a hard time. Anyway, so just to open up space for yourself, right? This is one of the things, the Akashic Record is spacious. There's an interesting blend. Like on one hand, the record is very immediate, right? It's very immediate, it's very present tense. On the other hand, it's completely expansive. And I think that's one of the most, the paradoxes, right, that we encounter along the way. And I'm so grateful that we live in a time when paradox, right, those things that seem to be opposing one another or contradict one another, that they can be in harmony because life is much greater than we realized. Like the day of either or and dualistic thinking, those days are over. We're in a new time now, a time of unity, of unification. And we're getting used to it, right? We're getting used to it. As human beings, we're not used to it. Right? We're used to, right? We want to be with our little tribe in our little country, in our little island, our little whatever. And now we're finding out, oh, wait a second, it's a big world and we're all in it together, which actually in the long run is going to be a lot more fun. Okay, a lot more fun. The process of switching from this, I don't know, thinking that we're separate and isolated into the recognition that we're already united, right? The process itself can be a little hairy at times, and that's where the Ascension Matrix comes in. Anyway, so I invite you to use it for yourself, and enjoy it. Enjoy it. I mean, that's part of one of the ways we know we're on a spiritual path. I mean, there are a lot of paths, this, career paths, paths for good health, lots of paths. But the spiritual path, one of the ways we know we're actually on it is we find ourselves happier, right? Generally happier, that it's easier to connect with a deep sense of peace and a sense of acceptance and belonging, right? And so your happiness as a human being is really important. So notice what makes you happy and include that on your list of ways to take care of yourself spiritually. All right. So we have a couple more minutes. I don't know. Does anybody have questions? Questions? Great. I don't think so, huh? That's all right. That's all right. Oh, Arvin, hi. And Kim is with us. Hi, Kim. Nice to see you. Thank you. I like that sun icon. That's very cool. So, all right. So it doesn't look like we have any questions for today. I'm sorry to hear that. Ooh. Okay, that's all right. That's cool. So listen, we're going to meet again next week, right? Next week, same time. It's 1:00 Central, right? And we'll be together, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes. And listen, if you have questions about the Akashic Record and how to use it in your life, let me know. Let me know. Okay, great. It looks like there's something. Lee, how often do you run checking in? Oh, this is a great question. So Lee is asking us about, how often to check in with our own Ascension Matrix and use it. I say all you want, right? Here's the thing. In the beginning, like when you first start using it, you might find that it doesn't, it's hard, right? It's hard, or it's a little foreign. And so you may find that you need to try it, right? A couple of times, I don't know, a few times a week, right? And you may find, and I know there are times when I am struggling with my ordinary life, like, whatever, ordinary life. So, and in those times, I will use this matrix frequently. Frequently, I might do it twice a day, just to remind myself of the reality, that the human challenges, whether it has something to do with the mortgage, my son, right, the puppy. I mean, life is kind of, it can be a little wacky. And so using the matrix during those times, right? Difficult times, what it does is it gets stronger and stronger. So it's like a muscle. The more we use it, right? The more you use the muscle, the stronger it gets. So go ahead. What I've noticed with a lot of practices that have been revealed to me in my work is that I run in cycles. like, and I'm sure, and many of us do, right? Where it's like, oh, right now it's the Ascension Matrix. And I'll use it a lot for a couple of weeks, and then I forget about it for a couple of months. And then it comes back and I use it again. That's fine. When we use the record, right? When we're working in the record is alive and very accommodating. So there are some things, and we want to use what's going to help us now. Sometimes what helps us today was not very helpful a couple of weeks ago, right? So pay attention. That's why I like to start like paying attention. Where am I now, right? And noticing, pay attention to how you want, where you are now, how you are now, and take it from there. Oh, good. Oh, I'm so glad. From Natalie, right? Natalie, this is a beautiful message. Thank you. Merci, right? Merci. Bonjour. Merci. I'm sorry, my French that's it. You got it all. So thank you. All right. Okay, Kayla, how do you get others to understand the process? I don't. You don't. Other people don't need to understand. Listen. Listen, I know, Kayla, isn't that like, ouch, ouch, ouch. So here's the thing. Everybody's on their own path. Some people will understand. I mean, you say very little and you get it that they're right there with you, right? Like, wow, how do they even know? How do they get this? I can't even put a sentence together and they get it, right? And that's good. And there are other people, no matter how you explain it to them, they look at you like you are probably really nutty and maybe in need of some serious help. Okay, which is fine too. But the fact of the matter is, the point is not that other people understand us. The point is that we extend kindness and respect to ourselves. Sometimes I have to ask myself, how do I love myself even though my friend doesn't know what I'm talking about, right? We all crave that sense of being known and loved, and we want that. It's natural for human beings to want that, especially when we are undergoing transformational processes, right? But not everyone's coming with us, right? And so we respect them. We say, fine, you don't have to come. I love you. It's great. But then the other thing is, don't hurt yourself. You don't have to tell everybody about what you're doing, because especially if they're going to laugh at you or give you a hard time, don't do that to yourself. They don't want to know anyway, right? Good. All right. I hope that's okay. Now, what are ascension symptoms? I don't know what ascension symptoms are. Kayla is asking about ascension symptoms. I don't know what that even means. So if you can let me know what ascension symptoms are, it sounds interesting. So Shrudi's with us. Hi, Shruti. Great. Well, I don't understand what Akashic Records facilitators, Shruti. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, also 10 from you. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Nice to see you guys. All right. Oh, Shruti's in India. Cool. Can you do, I'll tell you what, I have, Shruti, you're asking about online classes. I have an online school, actually, the Linda Howe Online Center for Akashic Studies. Okay. And if you go to my website, lindahowe.com, you can, you get the link to that. Maybe somebody can put up the link. Okay, we're going to put up the link to the online school. And in that online school, I teach certification classes, and we have some enrichment classes offered by elite certified teachers that I have trained. And but this spring, I'm offering healing through the Akashic Records. It'll be live online. And I know I've taught people all over the world on this platform. It's the Learn It Live platform. And so if you want to take a look at that, that'll be wonderful. Come to the class. It'll be great. And then what I like about it, well, one of the great things about this online is that then, even if you can't attend at the exact time of the class, you have the recording. You can always go back to it. until the world ends or something happens. I don't know what's going to happen at some point. But, those classes are available and you always have them to keep growing, right? To keep using for yourself. So that's something you can look it up. Let's see. Now okay. You learned from one of my students. Oh, cool. I wonder who it was. Anyway, and Kayla. Okay, Kayla's got a question. So, Shruti, I want to hear a little bit more about this, but Kayla's got an interesting question. Okay, when reaching higher states of energy and consciousness, people have felt pain, busy, or tinking. Listen, I'll tell you what. Anytime we are involved in a change, consciously or unconsciously, the human body responds. Okay. So even if I move, like I live in Chicago, right? It's a flat place. Part of what I like about it. It's flat, right? And right now it's cold. Okay. Now, if I get on an airplane tomorrow and I go to the Southwest part of the United States, right? And I am now in the desert or along the ocean, and the temperature is 50 degrees higher, I will experience some physical symptoms. First, I'll have some jet lag. I might be a little dizzy, but it doesn't mean anything, right? It just means that I am, like, my body is adjusting to the reality of my new environment. Okay. So there are people often report symptoms, right? Symptoms like, oh, I felt buzzing in my, at the top of my head. This must mean something. It doesn't mean anything. You can have all kinds of physical symptoms and still not have any feelings of love in your heart. One of the ways we know we're ascending is we set aside our fascination with physical phenomena, okay? And we turn our attention inward and notice, do I have a stronger sense of kindness, compassion, love, understanding, appreciation? Is it easier for me to treat others with respect even when I don't understand them? Is it easier for me to stop trying to force my opinions and interpretations on other people? So these are the questions we want to ask. Is it easier for me to accept myself? Is it easier for me to accept others? Okay, even though none of us are perfect. So we're looking for a quality of consciousness that will tell us more about the potency of our ascension work, right? So the more loving, kind, respectful, appreciative we feel as an emotion, not as like a buzzing or a thumping or an anything, but as a real human feeling in the solar plexus, yeah? Then we know we're on track. This is a terrific question. Okay, I think, okay, we're going to have people complaining about feeling sick. No, I don't. People don't get sick from doing this work. And if they do, I think they were probably sick before they started the work. I mean, being sick, I don't know what to say about it, but no, this work will not make you sick. Okay, it won't, and it doesn't like bring up old illnesses from other lifetimes. There's none of that. And I think what you're bringing to our attention, Kayla, that's very, very helpful is that there's a lot of confusion about the Akashic record, what it is, how it works, and what happens to us when we use it, right? And I think you're really bringing to our attention the value of good training, good education, so that you can be effective and not be a victim of this. For centuries, we've all been victims of our spirituality, right? Victims of our religions. We have worked we've worked ourselves to the bone, trying to make ourselves good enough and worthy enough, and with less than perfect results, right? And this is what is so tremendous about stepping into the Akashic field consciously, responsibly, and deliberately, is that when we engage in the Akashic record, we are in a space that really, where we are known and loved, appreciated and enjoyed, right? Just the way we are. That our human imperfections are there's room for that. So there's room for the fact that you are infinite, eternal, immortal, and a mere mortal as a human being. So it's terrific. Thank you so much. Okay. Shruti, I'd love it. Come and take a class, sweetie. I'd love it. It'd be fun. Okay. Good. Good, good, good. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. We're this business of, people suffering from depression, financial losses, how can they benefit from the Akasha? Great, great question. In the Akashic record, every one of us has the opportunity to get a sense that we are known, really recognized. Even though we've had some hard things happen, right? Whether we're depressed, we're sick, we've lost our money, we've lost our houses, our relationships, all kinds of things, right? We've lost our health. These things happen. And what we learn in the record is how to stop resisting the human experience and to love ourselves, really appreciate who we are, even though we're never going to be perfect. Right? We learn how to participate and contribute in life, even though we think we're not good enough. Life has not said to any one of us, get out of here, you're scaring me, you're so imperfect. No, life says, oh, what are you worried about that for? Come on out and play. We're all out here together. So, I don't know, if you've seen it, but my second book, which is Healing Through the Akashic Record, will really give you, if you read that, you get a lot of insight into some of the practices and really the possibilities for your own transformation using the Akashic record. Anyway, I think this is all for now. God, I love you guys. So listen, come back next week, bring your questions. I'll be here, and I look forward to us spending more time together. Thank you so very much. Bye-bye.